Hello and welcome to another episode of the Obstacle Race Magazine podcast. I'm here with Kevin, as usual. Hello, Mr. Newey.
Good evening. Apologies if I keep sniffing. I seem to have suddenly got a bout of hay fever, so I'll try and mute when I'm sniffing so it's not off-putting.
Okay, sounds good. So, question of the week, usual question. What episode are we on?
It's an easy one to remember. Because I remember on the last podcast, every 10 is memorable, isn't it? So this is number 30.
It is.
I did say on the last podcast this would be an easy one to remember.
30. Now, we hopped one last week. We didn't bother because it was a slow
Sorry.
week. But then, well, as soon as we said it, like within half an hour of saying, oh no, we'll leave it this week because it's been quiet, some new bits and pieces came out, didn't they? So I think Spartan, within half an hour of saying, oh no, we'll knock it on Ed, Spartan released all the new UK and Ireland dates.
And you also had an angry text message from Mama Wibberley on Tuesday morning when there was no episode for her to listen to.
Yeah, she's not very happy when she ain't got something to listen to while she's sewing and stuff. She kicks off. So I'll be in trouble. At least this week she won't be angry with me. But yeah, so we might as well jump straight into news, Kevin. So obviously we've already mentioned Spartan dates. So we're getting pretty close to the end of the normal sort of summer season, I guess. But they've finally been able to put some dates out that they're hoping are going to be able to happen now. This week, we have had, obviously, the announcements from the government and good old Boris. Things have been relaxed a little bit more, haven't they, in terms of outdoor events and what have you. But we're still at a kind of a weird point because Leicester obviously went into lockdown, didn't they? So that sort of set us back a little bit. But also this thing, so outdoor theatres, they can put on events, so outdoor swimming pools, outdoor training, blah, blah, blah. But the trouble is it's still sort of capped at 30 people per event. And you have to be able to ensure social distancing for all those 30 people. There's quite a few restrictions on it. Like you have to have something like a 3x3 area for each person. Indoor training's still really restrictive. Not many people have got much room for many people. There's like no big Zumba classes going on or anything like that because you sort of, most halls probably only be able to get 6 people in with the distancing in place.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of gym owners getting excited about the restrictions lifted though. I don't know if they actually looked into the measures that they've got to take to make it safe.
Yeah, I think it was short-lived for a few, weren't it, in terms of what they can and can't do. It's going to be strange. It's going to be strange. Gyms are going to be a weird place for a little while, aren't they, until either things calm down a little or things can be relaxed.
Anyway. That's why I don't go.
Is it bad for you? Is that why? Is it bad for your health going to the gym?
Bad for my self-image.
But no, so it's going to be strange. Obviously, swimming pools opening up, blah, 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 is great. But they're restricted to next to no people actually going and taking part. So in terms of gyms being financially viable, I think a lot, the ones that rely on like mass and churning people through all day long, they're going to be the ones that really struggle. And I don't see how they're going to be financially viable without help until things are completely lifted. But anyway, so Spartan UK and Ireland dates, there's nothing at present for Ireland because they're still a little way behind us, aren't they, in terms of restrictions. So I think that's why they've not announced anything in terms of Ireland. So to put, obviously Spartan have been doing the virtual events as well, so that's one thing to be definitely highlighting because that people, it looks like they're getting pretty popular actually, and people are really sort of enjoying taking part in them. And like the hurricane heats, the virtual hurricane heats, for example, they're doing them as big Zoom sessions, so they can actually watch as they're beasting people going through all the different. Yesterday. Yeah,
it was quite interesting to watch. Maybe tired just watching them, and that's only at the beginning of it as well.
It's a good use of technology though, isn't it? To be able to actually watch them and see that they're doing everything that they're meant to be doing. Exactly. Because the trouble with virtual events is it relies on a self accountability, doesn't it? And if someone's a medal whore or a patcher, and all they want to do is collect this little bit of kudos. The temptation, I guess, is there just to maybe 1-2 skip a few sort of situation. And
don't bring Lee Pickering into this with his burpee.
oh, bless him. But yeah, so virtual events, definitely look out for those. They've put on sale as well, it's worth highlighting, flexi tickets. So even if you buy a Spartan UK or Ireland ticket at the moment, you can have it so it's open-ended, so you can choose which event you want to actually attach it to when things have calmed down a little bit. I'm assuming, obviously, well, it's obviously it's for revenue reasons. They need to keep that revenue coming through, and they also need to inject a little bit of sort of what's the word? I can't think of the word. Like, basically, people don't need to be worrying about the money, sign up to an event and then getting forced into another or whatever, because they are open.
Peace of mind.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. A bit of peace of mind. So that's quite good. But anyway, so in terms of actual events, physical events that they are, fingers crossed, hoping will happen, the first one's set for August, the 8th and 9th in the Midlands, and that'll include a hurricane heat and a hurricane heat 12-hour. So that's the one that... Sorry, go on.
When you say that one is, sorry?
8th and 9th of August.
I thought they'd postponed everything up to sort of October time, or am I just misreading?
I think they've left the hurricane heats going because they know they can put social distancing in place and things, don't they? And it's only a very small handful of people who take part in those, because it's a niche within a niche, isn't it? People who want beasting and also want a little bit of OCR, it's sort of a niche within a niche. But yeah, so 8th and 9th in the Midlands is hurricane heat and hurricane heat 12-hour, and then the 29th and 30th in the southeast is another hurricane heat. So another one, I'm assuming, to test the waters, to see how they get on. And then in October, we'll see the first, hopefully, all being well, actual OCR events through Spartan being ran this in 2020. So that the first one is the 10th and 11th of October, and that's at Windsor. So that is a sprint, a super, a kids, and also the first ever of the Honour Series in the UK. So that's the one that's, I think it's in support of the I think it's. I'm not sure if it's for the armed forces, whether it's raising money for the armed forces, but I think the point of it is for people who, for ex-servicemen and what have you. So it's the Honour Series, and it's where you get a special medal. It'll be a unique medal. That's how they usually run it within other countries. Anyway, it's a unique medal for that one. And then on the 24th and 25th of October, back up to the Midlands again, we've got a sprint, a super, a trail event. So they'll finally be able to put on an actual physical, proper, non-virtual trail event. So I bet they're looking forward to cracking that one out. And then they've got a hurricane heat and a kids heat and a kids race. There's also a kids race on the 10th and 11th as well. I can't remember if I mentioned that or not. So that's in the Midlands on the 24th and 25th. And then jump into November. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but I remember when Spartan used to run events at that time of year, and they used to be absolutely brutal. So bearing in mind the weather can be really hit and miss in November, the 7th and 8th in the southeast, which will be Pippinford Park, won't it? There's a sprint, a beast, an ultra beast, and the other end of the spectrum, there's a kids race. And that's at Pippinford Park. So Pippinford Park is already an absolutely brutal place to take on a Spartan race, whether you're doing a sprint or no matter what you're doing. So then to factor in November time, it could go one way or the other. You're either going to come out with a terrific suntan, or you're going to be close to hypothermic before you get to the finish line.
It'll be the latter.
You think?
Yeah, I just had a look on the series as well. So the registration for the Honour Series is only available to active NHS, police, fire departments, first responders, prison officers, and active or retired military.
That's it.
And they get a special medal, and it's absolutely amazing. So I think it's like a trifecta weekend. If they do that, they get this special medal.
That's cool. And they are usually
special rates to sign up as well.
Yeah, they are usually really nice medals as well. The ones that we've seen where they've done them in the US, I think they're called something a little bit different over there. But when they've done these ones, they're it is a nice medal, isn't it? It's definitely worth one that people are going to want to add to the collection, isn't it? It's pretty unique.
Joining up to the military just to get this medal.
I'm not sure if a lot of people would agree with that, Kevin.
Fire service?
That's harder to... I think that's even harder to get into, isn't it? You got no chance. Fire service. NHS. Become a doctor to get into the Honour Series. I don't know if that's the right reason or whether Florence Nightingale would completely agree with those reasons to getting into...
Prison officer?
Prison officer. Is that on the list?
Yeah.
Ah, that's interesting. I don't know. There's a lot of rummians in prison, isn't there? I don't think I'd do too well in prison. I'd end up getting bribed or something a long way somewhere. But anyway, so that's the new Spartan UK season. So fingers crossed that'll be able to go ahead.
As a group, they've been putting some events on over in Europe. So they've had a few thousand over in Hungary and some other places as well. New ways of working, but it's been successful on the Spartan front.
And we spoke about in the last episode, we spoke about how they'd been able to put them together in the US as well. But we just got to sort of watch the US and see how they go, because obviously some areas of the US, especially like South America, for example, looks as if it's in turmoil at the moment, doesn't it, in terms of how well they're dealing with it and what the spread's like and things. So we're just going to have to see whether they put more restrictions in place, because that could knock it on head for them. Also, race calendar-wise, something that I think most people were probably expecting, but there is not going to be a World Championships this year. So the Federation one, backed one, had already been cancelled anyway, but the one that was the one that's sort of been the kind of unofficial one for the last few years that everyone's considered to be, because it's been the only one, the World Championships, the Adventurey one, the one that everyone sees as the World Championships, basically. They've knocked it on head for 2020, so they're basically passing it over until 2021, because I just can't... It's a sensible decision, really, because even if the large majority of people taking part are Americans when the venue's in America, or Canadians, they're not going to be able to... No one's going to be able to travel in, so it's not really a true reflection of like the world champions, is it, really? It'd just be another North American championship, really, wouldn't it, if that were to go ahead? So it's kind of pointless, really.
This year, though?
So Spartan World Championship, they knocked Dubai on the head, haven't they? And they've decided to move it somewhere else, but I don't know if they've announced the new venue.
Yeah, I've not seen.
I've not either. And I know Joe weren't very happy because at one of the little sort of news, OCR news, I don't know what you'd call it, like sort of Instagram pages released it. They must have got a bit of insider information, and it was before Spartan had even announced that it was not going ahead in Dubai. So Joe didn't seem very pleased with that, because that's obviously, when someone announces that before you have chance to, oh great, you get a few sort of hearts on Instagram and whatever, but you're actually causing that business, in this case Spartan, a hell of a lot of work and a lot of admin, because they'd be getting emails and all sorts straight away. They'd been fighting fires, so that were a bit. Unless Joe wanted that information out there, which is a totally different sort of kettle of fish altogether, which could have been the case. It were a bit sort of naughty of them to release that information if that wasn't the case, and someone had just sort of slipped him a bit of backhander information, because it does make a hell of a lot of work for a team that at the moment, I've no doubt a lot of them are furloughed or whatever. Well, they've already announced, haven't they, that they're running on a skeleton staff across the Spartan sort of global workforce. So I wouldn't like to be whoever's in charge of the World Championships customer services email.
I mean, it might go to Hungary potentially if they've managed to put a lot of people through there safely.
Possibly.
But no, it's different putting people through a run safely when it's an actual race. It's a little bit different, isn't it?
Plus, it's World Championships, so it also depends.
How to qualify,
yeah, and you need people to be able to get there, because it's all right one country being able to host it and their restrictions being sort of lax enough for it to be able to happen, but that doesn't mean anyone's going to be able to get there. And then is it really a true reflection of what a World Championship should be? It's just not really, is it? It's a bit strange. But yeah, so no World Championships. So John Alban had been, I think he'd spoken to, where, I'm not 100% sure where I read it, some sort of running magazine, and he spoke to him about an injury that he'd been carrying for a while, to do with his foot, and he'd just been basically running through it. But it's actually given him opportunity to give that chance to heal. I'm not 100% sure whether it needed operating on or it were a while ago when I read it now, but that's really good that the timetable shifting and things changing and moving over to next year gives him opportunity to actually rest, recover and repair, to get ready for next year. So can you imagine? So John, he's been carrying an injury for all this time. He said he's been carrying it for a good bit of time. So he's not even been sort of the top of his game that he could possibly be. What does that mean? Like,
plus he gets to hold on to his titles for another year as well.
Yeah, but that mean people are going to have no chance if he's had time to rest and recover. He's already leaving people in a trail of dust. So what happens when he's
always getting older, though? Someone's going to come and beat him at some point,
I suppose. And I did see Atkins today, though, to be fair, on his Instagram, and he is looking. So when I look at Ryan Atkins, I've always thought he looks more like I don't know, because he's quite a big guy. He's carrying a lot of muscle, isn't he? He's sort of dead in between.
Looks like a rugby player, doesn't he?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. He's a decent size. When you look at like 100-metre runner, they've got a big old stack of muscle on them, haven't they, compared to a distance runner. Say Mo Farah compared to like...
John's Mo.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, yeah. And Ryan's
Tyson
old... no.
Well, Usain Bolt isn't big and muscular.
Usain Bolt? No, I suppose he's a bit of a freak of nature, though, isn't he?
Gangly, yeah.
The muscles all spread across a massive frame. But yeah, I guess so. It's strange. But then today I've seen him, and it might have just been the image. It might have been the picture and just the lighting and stuff. But he looked really, really slim compared to how I've seen him in past. So maybe he's actually starting to sort of adapt to be able to really give John a good run for his money in 2020. Give him someone to...
He's got nothing to train for, so he might just be off his normal diet and bulking up and training, and you can easily lose the weight, can't you, if you're not training and eating?
I guess, yeah. It does seem to have been on his mountain bike more than usual. I know he enjoys that sort of stuff, but he's been doing ultra endurance things on his mountain bike anyway. I've seen him past, so maybe it's just been on that a hell of a lot more. I suppose it all depends what restrictions are in place wherever he is as well, and how far he can travel and compete and all that sort of stuff. But that's quite cool. So that'll make for an interesting 2021 when all the competitors have had a chance to sort of sit back, relax, repair, and come back the best they've ever been. Either that or they'll come back 10 stone heavier. So it's going to be one or other, isn't there? Either.
I've got some nuclear news. So they've actually launched now their 2021 season passes, and absolutely fantastic value. And what they do is they're the first 40 at a set price, and then they sort of go up in steps. But sadly, the first 40 at £160 have sold out. So that moves it on to the next 40 tickets are £170. But they've sold out. So then it goes on to the next 50, and they're at £180. So if you get in quick, you can get your season pass for £180. But so it's only available for the first 50 to book at that price. After that, it will jump up to 200 for 50, then jump up to 220. So absolutely fantastic bargain, £180 for all of next year's events. Includes a summer party as well. So get onto nuclear-races.co.uk and book it up. They're still hoping that they're keeping their fingers crossed for their summer party and for the September event this year.
Well, summer party, they're holding the summer party, but what they're doing is not allowing anyone else to sign up. From what I saw announced the other day, they're not allowing. So the people who are already signed up can go, but so they can enable social distancing or whatever, which kind of seems completely backward when they want to put on a summer party and it's meant to be a huge get-together, and then they've got to put all these restrictions in place, which is absolutely the complete opposite to what they would like to be doing. Nuclear, that is. They said that's it. So that's capped. Whoever's already signed up from to still be able to put that on. So that'll be quite cool for whoever was lucky enough to be able to get in and get a ticket for that.
Yeah, it's blasting. They've got blackout as well on the 12th of September. So
yeah,
I mean, we're just all keeping our fingers crossed for an event to come on. And if anybody can put it together safely, it's going to be nuclear. And just got to wait and see again. We keep saying we've got to wait and see what happens. Things getting relaxed all the time. The trouble is, there's no association for OCR really, is there? Who are going out there getting information, lobbying government to find out how we can get events on. So we're sort of keeping our eye on other sports who have got mass participation, just to see what they're doing and having a chat with their race directors. Yeah,
the ones who are already actually sort of that have got governing bodies and whatever that are recognised by Sport England, like triathlon, I think was one I flagged up the other day. Triathlon's quite close to us in terms of mass participation, multi-disciplines, blah-de-blah. So they're an interesting one to watch because they've been backwards and forwards in with Sport England, see what the advice is and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, we'll just have to. It's just a case of waiting and see, though, isn't it? Because you never know what's around the corner in terms of what's going to happen next, what restrictions are going to take away. Because a lot of things seem to be happening really fast. So 1 minute it seems like everything's a big no-no, and then I think it depends on how much some of it's economy based, though, isn't it? Sometimes a lot of it seems to be a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction to someone kicking off.
Yeah, whoever kicks off the loudest, then okay, well, let's relax that a little bit.
Yeah, which kind of sent like where the pubs were, how the pub one got through, and then obviously a week later they were like, well, if pubs are open, how come gyms can't be open? So then a week after that, the gyms are open, and like you say, it just seems like whoever shouts the loudest, doesn't it, gets their own way.
You know what we need to do?
Shout.
We need to give Boris's email address to Mr. Mouse.
Oh, that'd open everything back up if. I
bet he's already contacted him.
Probably already has, to be fair, by letter in Mouseies. But yeah, so that's about it for news in terms of what I've got. And Kev, you've given us yours. It's good to be back doing the podcast again, though. So anyone who is listening right now and actually enjoys this content, I know it's mainly UK based, but we also try and chuck in a little bit of World OCR information in there as well. So if you enjoy it, don't forget to click the subscribe button. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to click like, because it really helps us. And whatever you're listening to on it to, whatever directory or app or whatever you're listening to it to, if you can share it with one of your friends, that would be absolutely amazing. Because the growth we've had so far has been incredible. And if we can keep along those lines, then it will become like an amazing thing for us to be able to do each and every single week, to be able to talk to so many people. And so it's been an absolute pleasure. Kevin, thank you very much for joining me again for another podcast.
Thank you very much.
And If I don't, what is it that Keith Lemon says? If I don't see Fruit Week, I'll see you Fruit Winder.
I think so. Fruit Winder.
Fruit Winder. Cheers, Kev.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.